the Tribes. My name's Becky Tribe, and this is Stu Tribe, and we're going to be talking about our experience with newborn screening.
Yeah. We're the Tribe family. I'm Stu. This is Becky. Our daughter is Lyndon. She is 7 years old. And our son, Woodward, is 3.5, and he has GAMT.
And he was the first newborn identified through newborn screening. So we have a very personal story with newborn screening, and we're very passionate about it. And we are very thankful for the ACD and we're thankful that you're all here and listening to our story. So I work in education. If you can't tell, I'm a 4th grade teacher. It's not obvious. And Stuart works in advertising. We're not scientists, but we've learned a lot. And yeah.
This whole journey for us has been like trying to drink water through a fire hose. When we were first, we'll get to this, but when we first got the diagnosis and we're sitting across Dr. Longo, Dr. Longo asked, do any of you have a science background? And Becky, we both looked at each other as a 4th grade teacher and a person who makes TV commercials, and our answer was an emphatic, absolutely not. So anyway, it's been a journey for us, and so pardon if we, get some of the science wrong in this, but this is our personal journey and experience with a son diagnosed with GAMT.
Okay, so here's our story.
Yeah, so Becky and I go way back. We grew up in the same town, met in 9th grade art class, went to sophomore prom, dated through high school, and went to Brigham Young University here, and while we were there, we got married. We both graduated with bachelor's degrees there, then moved to Los Angeles. We promise this context is important. It's just not us telling you our story. And then after that, we were pregnant with Lyndon, our first and daughter.
And she was born in Los Angeles.
Yes, the UCLA birthplace in Santa Monica.
And we were having a great time there. We were loving it. And then COVID happened, and Stuart's job kind of shut down and went remote. So we said, let's go to Utah.
And this is just some interesting information. We had a family wedding happening that March, like early March, and so things were shutting down in Los Angeles. Trader Joe's were being raided and completely, nothing left there to buy. So we said we have to leave the state. We packed up and just went to Utah to be closer to family, unsure what was going on, but knew we had to be there for a wedding. It was just kind of all these strange kind of shoot from the hip kind of decisions to go.
Yes. And shortly after getting to Utah, we found out I was pregnant with baby number 2, and we were pumped, so excited. And we were kind of back and forth between Utah and Los Angeles. I would meet with my OB in LA. I loved him. He was fabulous. Was planning on delivering Woody in Los Angeles. And that was our plan. We were going to be in Utah for 2 short weeks, and then we were going to go back to LA. Yeah,
and have the second baby at the hospital we loved so much, the birthplace in Santa Monica. It was all part of the plan.
So living in Utah, COVID did not last just a 2 short week period. And as we got closer and closer to delivery, I was like, it could be nice to have the baby in Utah and be right by my mom and by Stuart's mom and surrounded by family. So towards the end of my pregnancy, we decided, let's just stay here. Let's have Woody in Utah. So we found a doctor in Utah, and he was born in Orem, Utah.
Yes.
And everything was great. Delivery was smooth. He was a full-term baby. He passed all of his newborn tests. He looked great. He got to go home early. And we were at home enjoying our cute little tiny newborn.
Yeah, until about 2 days later, we get a phone call from our pediatrician, who's actually a good family friend of ours, and he was very confused. He said the newborn screening has come back and something's been flagged on it. I don't know what this is.
He said, I never heard of it.
Never heard of it. And so
I Googled it.
Yeah, I Googled it. Don't know what this is.
He said, why don't you guys do some Googling?
He says, you do some Googling, I'll do some Googling, we'll figure this out, no big deal.
Usually the doctor is like, don't Google it. But this doctor's like, you guys kind of research it, you guys look it up. And we're like, okay. And he's like, go get his blood drawn. It's 5 p.m. Go get his blood drawn tonight. And we were like, is this like an urgent thing? Like, what's happening? We don't know. And he's like, no, okay, go in the morning. The morning will be fine. And we're like, okay. So we were very confused. But we went in and we got his blood drawn again. And then we didn't really think much more of it. We kind of looked it up, and it was super rare. We're like, maybe it was false negative. We don't know. We didn't think too much more about it. We kind of forgot about it. Yeah, it was at the back of our minds, but we were like... Yeah.
So when did Kim call us? Was that?
Then like a few days later.
Yes. Then a few days later, it kind of really set in when the genetic counselor, I believe it was Kim. Is that the name? I got it right. Yes. Kim. Sorry if you're here.
She's an angel.
An angel. And to have the tact that she did to kind of break the news to us and what this meant, for us, it was almost like hearing it through an old like telegram or something. Like it was just catching small bits of 1 in a million, first newborn or first babies, caught by newborn screening. We're like, I don't even know what newborn screening is. Did they do that? Did they take his blood? What happened? And so it was just honestly very overwhelming. I think our reaction was we were in complete denial and a little frustrated by it. And, because we don't come from, in our family at least, going back, we don't have anyone with a disorder or anything like that. We're pretty, healthy people and never had anything like that happen. So we kind of just thought, how could this be happening to us? Our baby was just fine. They didn't tell us anything there. Anyways, we were in denial and kind of angry, frustrated, and very confused.
So the next day we meet with Dr. Longo, and he and his team were amazing, and they were trying to break it down to us, what this meant, what Woody's life would look like, what treatment was like, and we were just like, okay, I guess here's our perfectly healthy baby, and we got to start giving him creatine.
And I remember we said some dumb things like, can we get a second opinion?
Yeah.
And Dr. Longo's like looking at us like, how do I say this nicely?
But I think we did make him take the blood again and test his blood again.
I think we did. Anyway.
Sure enough, he has it. He's doing great, though. So, and then we get in contact with Heidi, and she's walking us through how to mix in our kitchen.
Well, hold on. It was like, I think Dr. Longo and his team was like, it was the science, it was the diagnosis, it was the confirmation, it was the, what's behind the curtain here. And then they all looked at us and said, you need to talk to Heidi. And we didn't know who this magical Heidi was, but she had all the answers apparently.
She does.
And the next day, Heidi, I think, texted us or called us and said, come to my house, I have everything you need. And we didn't know what we needed. But we got there and she supplied us all the creatine, the ornithine, sodium benzoate, the mortar and pestle to mix it all together, the syringes, everything we needed. And we're looking at this box of stuff and just being like, how do we do this? But Heidi it was just this like yin and yang, right? It's like the science and then the implementation, and it was all just there for us. And it just so happened that Heidi lived 2 cities away, right? So, it was just another kind of like, we didn't understand the importance or the miracle that this was happening to us in real time. So that's just some more interesting context.
So shortly after his diagnosis, we're getting contacted by news. We are talking to reporters, and we're just kind of blown away by the whole thing, sharing our story. We're like, we don't know. We almost had him in Los Angeles, but we had him in Utah, and we got this diagnosis, and it's been crazy. Here we are with all of our supplies that Heidi hooked us up with, our creatine shirts. And
this was like a welcome to the family gift basket. It was
yes.
just like, here's a Walk for Strength shirt. Here's, all the merch we've ever done. It's like, we're in. I guess we're in.
And one of the most interesting and cool experiences we had right away was we actually got to go to the ARUP lab where his blood was tested as a newborn. And we talked to the scientists who ran his blood. And it was amazing to see their reaction. They were so excited. Yeah, they were like, we saw his test and we were so excited, and we were like, okay, well, he has a genetic disorder. And they're like, oh yeah, our condolences, but we're excited.
Yeah, it was this mixed thing of seeing in their eyes just this like, you have no idea how long I've been waiting for this, and we're really sorry.
And then as we were learning more and we're getting the context, we're understanding how important Woody's diagnosis was. And because he was diagnosed through newborn screening, that meant their test worked. This test that they had been working on and just trying to find evidence for so long, he was the evidence that the test worked and that newborn screening is essential and important. And because of all this, he was able to start his treatment right away.
Yeah, and I think we just, this is my favorite slide because I feel like, we were going to have Woodward in Los Angeles. They don't test for this. At this time, I believe it was Utah and Michigan who were only testing this with newborns, and New York as well. And so if we hadn't crossed this imaginary line and had him here, his life would be very, very different. And so I just wanted to zoom out a little bit and just say how important this newborn screening is and how important it is. They're already getting their blood drawn. It just needs to be added to the list. That's it. And so, Woody's life is completely different because we happen to be here.
So his daily life, and these slides are just showing how we've implemented his treatment into his daily life. And starting at a super young age, there he is getting his blood drawn. He doesn't even mind it. He's just hanging out, listening to his classical music. We check his levels. We make creatine in our kitchen. And there we are giving him his creatine. We give it to him 4 times a day. And because he's started this treatment and we've implemented treatment so early, he's thriving. And we've been able to prevent any of the symptoms of GAMT from presenting themselves. So here he is now. He's 3.5 and he is wacky, but he's right where he needs to be, physically as well as developmentally. He started school this year and he's doing amazing at school. They give him little assessments and it's very cute and structured, and he's right with his classmates. I always am asking him, like, how is he doing compared to his classmates? And they're like, he's fine, he's great. So.
And they're also very accommodating and give him creatine, and that was a long discussion. Like, can you give him creatine? They're like
they wanted
creatine like for bodybuilders? It's like, yes, I know he's 3.
They're like, is it medicine?
But he's going to be jacked. So just help us on this path.
They kept saying, is it medicine? Isn't it a supplement? Why does he need a supplement? He's only 3. And we're like, it's a genetic disorder. And they're like, what is it? And we're like, it's GAMT.
You do some Googling, we'll do some Googling. Yeah.
Anyway, his whole trajectory and his life has been completely altered and changed because of newborn screening. And we know that there are other babies out there who are also going to have their lives changed because of newborn screening and early implementation of treatment. And it's just so important that we get these babies screened early on.
Yeah, and I mean, the great news of California next year, right, implementing it, or this summer, even better. Like, that whole state of California.
So now we can move back.
So now we can go back, yeah. No, but I mean, it's incredible the work that the ACD has done, Heidi, everyone here. And so we really wanted to just say thank you for all that you've done. And I'm sure Woody, if he was here, he'd maybe say the same thing. He's a little wild, but we're so grateful for everything that you were doing. Please keep it up.
Thank you.